Hello, everybody. Welcome to my spoiler review of Animal Farm by George Orwell. I'm trying to read a lot more classics this year, and as I talked about in my 1984 video, I went to a very weird high school. It was a small Christian school. It wasn't really Christian, it was a weird cult, a really awful place. And a lot of the classics you guys read in high school, I'm reading now in my 20s. It took me till I was in my 20s to read Fahrenheit 451, 1984, Animal Farm. I'm catching up on the classics right now. All the stuff I should have read, but I'm not going to ramble about that too much. So I finally just read this. It's a really short book and it packs a punch. I actually prefer shorter books because they're much quicker reads and I could get through more of them and take in more stories. And I really enjoyed this book. This book's about Old Major. He's a boar that tells the whole farm, hey, I had this dream that one day we will overthrow the humans and we'll be equal and we won't have to be their slaves. And all the farm is like, oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, the humans do nothing, which we eventually learn is not true. They need the humans or else it's all chaos. And basically, eventually what happens is two pigs, Napoleon and Snowball, sort of take over. But Napoleon is, he wants to make it into a dictatorship. So he sort of, well, we don't know exactly what happens to Snowball. He sort of gets chased out of the farm, and we don't know if he actually dies or not. There's some things that are like hinted at, like the dogs chasing him, but we're not quite sure exactly what happens to him. But that's besides the point, I guess. Although I really liked Snowball, he was my favorite character. But basically, Napoleon turns it into a dictatorship, and basically everything they had complained about, he starts to do. They had these 7 commandments that were like, animals shall not do this, shall not do this, shall not do this, or animals this, animals are this, animals are that, whatever. These 7 commandments, and eventually he breaks every single one. And whenever some of the animals go to revisit the commandments, they're painted on the side of a barn or something. Whenever they go to revisit, they find there's extra words added onto the end. Like one of them was like, animals shall not sleep in beds or something because it's like man-made or something, whatever. And then he starts sleeping in beds, and so do some other pigs. And then he adds on to the end of it, they shall not sleep in beds with sheets and like things like that. Like he'll add on a couple words to change it so that way he could do it. And then he starts to, and just like in 1984, starts to change history. A certain event happened, and eventually he starts saying, no, it happened this way instead. Like there was this big war that happened. Well, I shouldn't say a big war. It was a little battle. And then he changes it to make himself be some hero when really he didn't really even do that much in it. But everybody starts believing it. And the thing I took away from this book is that, like, if you keep letting people get away with small things, like, it's gonna escalate. Like this in 1984, I had that same thought where it's like you let someone get away with something. One time, like, oh, that's not a big deal, and then they do something else, and you're like, oh, it's not a big deal, and you just like let it go. You just don't say anything, and then you look back and suddenly they've done 10 things that you just sort of let go. You're like, it's not a big deal, and now it is a big deal because now they have all this power over you, and they've done so many things that. Now, when you don't want to just let it go, you can't because they're already in control. They're in charge. Napoleon in this book did so many things that if anyone eventually wanted to stand up to him, they'd be executed. That's just how things go. A main point in this book was that power corrupts. It does not take long before power corrupts. This book is sort of about the Soviet Union. The pigs represent commies. And the things about commies is they always say something like, we have to abolish this and that and overthrow this and then we'll be equal. But really, the commies want to control you and they're going to make it worse. At the start of this book, with Jones, who's the farmer in charge of the manor farm before the animals rename it Animal Farm, at the beginning of the book, I mean, they've got a good situation going on. He takes care of them, feeds them. It's a normal farm. And then once the pigs are in control, the pigs have it good. The pigs have all the food they want. They get to live in the house instead of outside with all the animals. They get to do this and that. They get all these luxuries, and none of the other animals do. None of them do. It's a billion times worse than they ever thought it was when it was a normal farm. And that's what commies will do. Commies will ruin everything. But guys, that was my review of Animal Farm. I really love this book. And I imagine everybody watching it has probably already read it. But if you haven't yet, it really is a great book, and it's definitely a recommend. I think I might have liked it a smidge more actually than 1984, but I don't know. They're kind of neck and neck. I'm going back and forth. I really dug both of those. And of course, if you guys are looking for a book to read, I have 8 books right now down below in the description you could buy. I only have hard copies of 5 of them right now because the other 3 are up for pre-order. I have a new series of books called 100 Days Till Halloween. It's a series of slasher books. The first 3 books are up for pre-order. We'll have at least 5 books total in that series this year, potentially more depending how sales go. And if you guys want to pre-order my new series of books, those first 3 are down below in the description. You can pre-order them. But I have 5 other books that you guys could read right now. If you get them on Kindle, you could read them instantly. Or if you get the paperbacks, they'll arrive in 2 days. But there's the Eternity trilogy, which is Eternity, Inner Demons, and Locked Coffins. There's also my short story collection, The Eclipse Theater, and my horror comedy Duality. So please, guys, go down below in the description, check out my books, and have a great day. Peace.